Hello, and welcome to my talk for the day. I'm glad that you're here. I think I've mentioned before that one of my major projects this year is to build an arbour in our yard. It'll add something and add some height as well. I have all the wood gathered, and last weekend was ready to go. We had rain, so the land was well soaked. My plan was to drive 4 long spikes into the ground and to build 4x4s of the correct height out of them to make the frame. Off I set with my heavy hammer, and things went well. The first spike slid into the ground, blow after blow, until it didn't. I'd clearly hit rock. The problem was that I had done such a good job of putting the spike in that it was hard to get it out. About 45 minutes later, I had succeeded. I repositioned everything and began to thrash away again. Same problem, different spot. I've now decided that sonotubes and concrete are the next solution. If anyone's looking for long landscaping spikes, I know that Home Depot has 3. Over the weeks of pandemic and lockdown, many have had to change plans, and that has been perhaps frustrating. It's often been the case that outside circumstances have dictated what we are and what we're not able to do. The closing of provincial borders means that we cannot travel as we might have wished. I'm sure that we can all identify things which have had to be changed due to COVID-19. Today, I would ask us to remember those in our province for whom life has changed out of all recognition. Some people have lost their jobs, and although the government has put things in place, not everyone qualifies. And what happens when the payments stop? These are huge issues for some families. I also know that of at least one person who has become homeless during this period. He was marginal at best in his ability to keep his home going, and that has no longer proved possible. Due to the lockdown, it's been harder than usual for him to access help. I imagine there are more in that position. There are those connected with nursing homes and hospitals who worry of what might happen if the virus gets into such places, as we have seen across the country. Visiting has been curtailed for many weeks, and people are missing their loved ones and not being there to be able to support them. For those who run businesses or work in them, big changes have had to be made to allow people to go onto their premises. The ways in which they do business have had to alter, and there is the ever-present fear of, will they survive this? Then there are those who are lonely. Perhaps this was the case for them before the pandemic took hold, but I know that for many their situation has been worsened during the last few months. Also, for some, being restricted in our home has led to a heightened sense of fearfulness. What will happen if I get COVID-19 or something else? There are those living in abusive relationships who are having to stay with their abusers. And perhaps more generally, there's a greater tension in families with no clear end date. I'm sure I could list many more things, but I want to urge us to do 2 things if we can. Firstly, if we're aware of people for whom the recent changes have been difficult or even life-changing, ask what we can do for them. And secondly, to pray for situations we know of where things are difficult. Once again, thank you for being here. If you're available this evening for the litany at 6, that would be great to see you. Otherwise, God bless and stay safe.